We're gonna wait, did you say? Oh,
Yeah, we'll wait up there.
okay, yeah, no,
And the building report, or do you want me to give it anyway, just not vote on it?
yeah. For information.
If Elizabeth Jones comes in, then we can vote on it.
Okay. She's coming? All right, we'll postpone, all right? All right, let's go. We'll call the meeting of the Planning, Zoning, Agriculture Committee for this Wednesday, July 19th, 2017 to order. Do we need roll call? Roll call, please.
Mr. Olthoff,
Present.
Mr. Tripp, Mr. Washington, Mr. Tholen, Ms. Polk, Mr. Mulcahy, Mr. Byrne, Mr. Hildebrand, Mr. Einfeld, Mr. Payton, Ms. Peters, Ms. Dunbar, Mr. Ritter, Mr. Wheeler, Mr. Lear.
Thank you. We don't have a quorum at present, but we'll continue. We just won't be voting on the minutes or the building report, and the rest will be for information only. We'll go on to the building report for information.
Okay, the building report for June 2017 is in your packet. For June, we had 107 total permits with an evaluation of $3.3 million and brought in $22,760 in permit fees. Total fees for the building department for the month was $25,726. I compared this to June of last year, and we are a little bit higher than last year. Last year we brought in, if you take away the Kelly Creek Wind Farm, which was also came in June of last year, we brought in $17,758 compared to other permit fees. And we had 102 last year. We had 107 this year, so we're right with our average.
Okay. We still don't have a quorum, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Elizabeth. Going on, the Soil and Water Conservation District Agreement discussion. Whoop. We don't have a quorum.
Yes.
We have 8
We need-
if you count Steve.
We can use Steve to have a forum.
We can.
We can get vice chairman to make a forum.
Oh, okay. So is there a motion to approve by Mr. Mulcahy, seconded by Mr. Payton? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We'll go back to the minutes. You received a copy of the minutes of the June 22, 2017 meeting. Any additions or corrections? Motion to approve would be in order. Ms. Dunbar and Mr. Washington. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carried. Going on to Soil and Water Conservation District Agreement.
Alright. Since about 2007, this county has had an agreement with the Kankakee County Soil and Water Conservation District to perform their erosion and sediment control functions for building permits. Somewhere along the line, I think the last one we actually approved, the agreement's supposed to be approved every year. Last one we approved was somewhere in, I think, 2011, 2012. So we haven't had one. And about a year and a half ago, the lady at the SWCD that did those left, and we haven't had anybody to do them anyway. Our staff has been doing them, which has been, we haven't had that many. I think this year we've had 7 that qualified. So I guess what I'm asking before I send this to the state's attorney and start going through the whole motions is, do we want to keep this in-house and our staff do it? Or do we want to look into an agreement with the Soil and Water Conservation District again? They do have a lady on staff now. She's part-time, but they are willing to do it. So,
Any comments? Is there a reason why we wouldn't have them do it, or?
well, we are doing the erosion and sediment control plans for those permits. We're keeping the fee. It's a $100 fee each time. Even in good times, the average was about, I think, $7,000 to $8,000 a year in fees. This year, obviously, it's only $700, $800.
Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there,
like a expense cost analysis? I mean, does that cover our cost, the $100 to do it, or do we go underwater, no pun intended, doing this?
No, I think we make plenty, and in fact, we make more than the Soil and Water Conservation District does, because part of it involves an inspection, and we're already out there for the inspections anyway. And that's for the residential. Commercial is $250 fee. My concern is that when things pick up and we get busy, will we still have the time to do it? So should we put it in place now and have them, there's no cost to us to have them do it other than the lost revenue that we have gotten for the last year and a half.
Is it an all or nothing? Either they do it all, or do we send them the ones we can't get to?
I think it's an all or nothing. It's part of this lady's duties, and I'm not sure that they can keep her on staff if they don't get this.
I see.
So,
Were you told that by?
no, I was not. That's just my impression of it, that they're looking at this to fund part of her salary. So,
Mr. Dunbar?
if you want to think it over, I don't need an answer today. Our income off of it right now is minimal. I'd like to have everything in place for when building permits finally pick up again back to the levels that they were in 2011. We could hold off on it, but I think we're going to need it
So your recommendation would be to sign it?
to sign it, yes.
Anyone else? We need a motion, then?
No, I'm really just looking for a consensus. It'll come back to this board once me and the district are going to have to sit down and work out the agreement, run it by state's attorney for review, and then come back to this board with it. So
I can't believe they'd close the office because they don't have this.
I don't know that they would close the office. It's just that that lady's position may not be.
There isn't. She's the only one in the office.
Oh, is she? I don't
Yeah,
know that.
there's only one. She took Rich Howell's place.
Yes, that woman is the one who left with no notice to us, so we were just like,
Oh,
came in one day and we had to start doing erosion plans.
why don't,
New one is a student at Olivet. She works part-time for him. Her name's Emily. I met
why
her
don't we
once.
keep doing it until we see a necessity to make a switch and see what happens with the SWCD?
That's fine too. I mean,
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect? By Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Payton. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right. FEMA buyout grant.
about a year and a half ago, roughly, we asked this committee's permission to seek funding to buy out one of our severe repetitive loss properties over on River Lane in Aroma Township, and the committee approved our application, and I just wanted to announce that FEMA actually approved the grant. We should be receiving it in about 30 days.
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you explain the financial arrangement as far as how that works? Local match, if any?
There is no local match because it's severe repetitive loss. FEMA pays 100% of it. They pay for the demolition of the building. They purchase the property. They're paying for removal of trees, the septic system, capping of the well, basically reseeding, returning the site back to a vacant lot. And we actually get to charge some administrative costs. I think there's about $3,000 our office will actually receive for administering the grant.
Which property is this?
It's 13 River Lane, and that's about all I can say because of confidentiality. Yeah, floodway. It's severe. And the issue has always been that the county will own the property when it's done, and we will be responsible to maintain it and insure it for liability purposes. And originally we were going to give it to the Forest Preserve District, lease it to them. They didn't want it. We went to the Park District. They didn't want it. So we are talking with some other groups right now to see if we might be able to lease it to another group.
We don't need to take action on it.
No, that was just an announcement that that's coming.
All right. Any questions?
Are there any other properties in that circumstance right now?
Yes. Yes, there are.
And have we applied for grants?
No,
for
we
them?
did not. The grants only come around at certain times, and you kind of have to be ready to go when the grants are available. The only reason we were able to get this grant this time is because we piggybacked on a disaster that occurred, I think, Macon County, in another county. We piggybacked on now. You have to have a disaster before these funds even become available. So we were able to do that. This one was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
The other properties were not, and there was no way we were going to get them done in time. So there's a few others out there, and they're not. I know of at least one that's a 50 by 150 lot. So I'm not sure
That's
what.
not much property.
Not sure what we do with it if we do end up owning it.
Mr. Lear?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you know what county board district that is in?
Andy's, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Going on to transportation, the FHWA review.
I believe you're all aware that we have a MPO, but we're going to do a little background on that. Back in February of this year, the FHWA and some members from IDOT reviewed our program like they do every 4 years to make sure that we are in compliance and that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. Why is that not working? It's going to be a short presentation. Oh, well, it's not scrolling up and down here though, so. Hey, Jason, any ideas? It's a really nice cover.
Try shutting it off and turning it on.
Yeah, let's try that.
It always works for me. Why is that?
Okay, we'll use these arrows. Yeah, the number pad might be wrong. Anyway, getting back to that, back in February, they did their review. What is an MPO? For those of you who may not know, the MPO is created when an urbanized area reaches 50,000 population or exceeds that. It's authorized by the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1962. We've had one since 1983. The MPOs are tasked with the regional transportation planning for that urbanized area. In Kankakee County, CATS, or Kankakee Area Transportation Study, is the MPO for our urbanized area. It was a 1980 census, brought us above 50,000 population, and it was established in 1983. There are 16 other similar MPOs in Illinois. Our MPO is housed in the Kankakee County Planning Department, and it's staffed by Kankakee County employees. Our current staff is an executive director, myself, transportation manager, which is Jeffrey, office manager part-time is Michelle, clerical support part-time Melanie, and a GIS technician, very little bit of his time, Daniel, our GIS technician, is also part of it. We have 2 vacant positions currently, in the MPO. One of them, though, is being advertised. I don't know if that's been posted yet or not, but it will be posted very, very shortly for a transportation planner. Has a separate budget from the planning department, and there's a 20% local match on the program. Who oversees CATS? We have a policy committee and a technical advisory committee, which is the engineers of the member agencies. And the member agencies are the 5 municipalities: County of Kankakee, IDOT, River Valley Metro, and representatives from FHWA and FTA, and the airport. Thank you. Although they're not required to do these reviews on MPOs the size of ours, they still do them because they believe it's a good exercise, and I do too. It's been very helpful to show us what we could be doing better and what we're actually doing right. So that's done every 4 years. And this year it was on February 22nd and 23rd. It was a 2-day session. 5 elements of the program that they reviewed was our organization and administration of the process, our transportation planning, public participation and civil rights, transportation system management, and program development. I'm going to show you how we're scored on all of these. Organization and administration of the process, MPO structure, planning area boundary, the unified work program, and self-certification. MPOs our size, we certify ourselves that we're doing things right every year. MPO structure, and the grades up in the corner, those are completely mine and not from the FHWA, but
What school did you go to?
not biased, but Bradley, by the way.
Oh.
But based on their findings, I went ahead and gave them a grade. Our structure is good. Our intergovernment cooperative agreement meets all the requirements, but they do have a few tweaks. That's why it's not an A+. We do need to update our ICA to meet some of the new requirements that they have out there from the FAST Act. MPO boundaries, we're in good shape there. The last boundary was the 2010 census. The Census Bureau sets the boundary that we have to follow. And then that green area is the urbanized area. And if you can see on the map, there's an orange line that goes all the way around it. That's our planning boundary, 20-year horizon planning boundary for the MPO. Their only comments on that is that we should monitor it for inclusions for the 2020 census. Unified Work Program. It says that our contents in the document is adequate. But they do recommend that the staff obtain more training on the various aspects of the program, and that should be in the UWP. So we're going to be looking at that and determining what training is most appropriate for each position, and put together some type of program for yearly training. Self-certification. USDOT has accepted our certifications every time, so there's not too much problems there. They do suggest, though, that we put together an annual report each year explaining what we've done and how we've accomplished all of our goals. The staff intends to do that, so June 2018 should be our first annual report. And that brings us to element number 2, the transportation plan. A- on this one. It meets the federal requirements. Process was well executed. In fact, IDOT, I believe, has commented that it would make an excellent model plan for others to follow. They did have a few changes. They'd like us to include revenue projections and capital and maintenance cost in it. And we intend to incorporate those the next time the plan is updated, which is 2 years, Jeffrey, or 2020? Okay. Public participation in civil rights. We meet the federal requirements, but even going into these meetings, the FHWA says, no matter what you're doing, you can do more. So that's why we got a C on this. You can never do enough public outreach and public participation in their eyes. So they recommend that we use the power of social media. So we're going to create ourselves a Facebook page. We look at marketing techniques. They would like us to have a website that's independent of the county planning department's website. So we're already taking steps to rectify some of that situation.
Is there a cost to that?
There is cost to some of it. The social media sites, no, those are free. The website is definitely going to have a cost, but that is paid for by the grant. So
It is.
yes.
That is a substantial cost too, right?
It doesn't have to be. No. We can still house it on our servers. It's going to have its own URL. In fact, we're thinking about the cats-mpo.org that's on the screen there at the bottom.
Okay.
We want to build an identity for the MPO so that when people talk about the MPO, they know who we are and what we do. So we're going to develop our own logo. One of the ideas is that little logo down there in the corner. In fact, I think...
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did you already grab that URL?
No, we have not yet, and we're only thinking about, there's several of them we're thinking about, so,
Okay. All right.
I mean, the cost of the URL is pretty cheap.
$5.99.
So, if somebody was to grab it on us, we'll pick another one. What I don't want is something long like Kankakee Area Transportation Study all spelled out. It needs to be something that's easy to remember. So we're thinking about, we got a few other ideas for logos and such, but we want to do a color theme, a logo, carry it on through all of our documents, our website and such. There's one we're thinking about. There's the color scheme there. And there's the URL. So over the next year, we'll be working on some of that. One of the things is that the website does need to be ADA compliant.
Mr. Washington. No. Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. Just as a thought, and then again, not to micromanage, but a good way to market and get people involved in the site is to have high schools or somebody have a logo contest to help develop the logos.
That'd be an
It's
excellent
just a
idea.
thought, because it tends to draw a lot of attention to any particular issue. So
Great. No, that's a good idea. I mean,
you may find interest. So
we are certainly open to suggestions. So.
Mr. Mulcahy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How does one make a website ADA compliant?
There's a variety of ways. The way, a lot of it has to do with sound. You can put, have somebody reading the entire website, and you can click on that to have them play that to you. All of your photos and graphics must have a written description so that when you scroll over them, you get that written description, which would also be in that voice recording. There's a variety of things that you can do. I don't know what that adds to the price tag. We've never actually purchased those services, so I don't know what that's going to take, and that may be something that's done incrementally over time.
Mr. Wheeler.
thank you. It may behoove you to look at that cost on the front because it may impact how you design the site.
Right.
So take a look at what the cost would be on that build out, and then you may have to either economize or you may realize it's not as expensive as you thought.
Right. It could be. Over the next few months, we're going to be actually having meetings with companies that do this sort of thing, and start getting an idea of what's going to be involved.
Okay.
We don't know at this point whether it's going to be enough to go out for an RFP or not, or a bid process. So.
And again, the cost is covered under the grant completely.
It is, but I don't. If it gets too much, we may not be able to afford it this year. We may have to wait till next year or do it over time. Yes. 80% of the cost. It's still part of the 20% of the local match. So, yeah, I already discussed that. We're going to do, it'll be ADA compliant website. We're going to incorporate all of these things into all of our documents, have social media linked to our website. The new transportation planner, part of their duties will be to monitor comments from those social media sites and report anything of importance. And there's a book out there any of you are interested in called The Innovative MPO. The FHWA recommends we read that. It's only a couple hundred pages, but it gives you a lot of new ideas on how to market your MPO. So,
Question? Do construction companies and do they monitor things like this to see what's coming up, or there isn't any of that kind of information in it? As
you mean
far
like
as-
road construction
Yeah.
companies? I don't know what they do, but they could. We have been looking at the other 16 MPOs in the state and some in other states to get some ideas of what their websites have and how they're put together. One thing that piqued my interest was it Champaign has their tip, an interactive map with all of the projects. You can click on the project on the map and get the description and the cost analysis and everything for it, or you can go to the document and it's all interrelated and interactive, and it was really kind of nice. So
Okay.
we're considering some things like that.
All right. Anything else?
Okay. Civil rights, our Title VI populations, we do need to do more comparisons with protected classes versus our program to determine that we're doing things right there. So that's why we got to be, in my opinion, on that one. So over time, we're going to be doing it. We're going to use our GIS to start comparing the social economic data in areas where we have projects. Management and operations. We got an A- on this for our safety program, mainly because FHWA thinks we should be applying for more grants for safety. They did commend us on our safety committee that we have. So we're looking at different ways that we can apply for grants or encourage our membership to apply for grants, because a lot of that's them, not us. Freight planning, that's always been a huge issue for this county with truck traffic, and we're going to continue what we can. The problem is that there's not a lot of data out there on truck traffic, so we may have to start looking at ways that we can obtain our own data. Program development. The TIP is the Transportation Improvement Program, and that's the document that tells you of all of the federally funded highway projects within that urbanized area over a 5-year period of time. Their recommendations here is that we become a clearinghouse for federal funds, so that any federal project within that urbanized area, copies of it comes to us, kind of like a library situation. And I think we can certainly do that. And they would like our TIP to be a web-friendly document, kind of similar to what I explained that I think the Champaign County has. So we'll be addressing these in the 2018 TIP, and the web-friendly TIP will be whenever the website gets recreated. Annual list of obligated projects. They love the report that we do. Jeffrey does an obligated project report every year, and they did not have too much in the way of changes on that, so we got a nice A+ there.
Way to go, Jeffrey.
Yes. That doesn't come with a raise. Just,
Oh, sure looks nice though.
yeah. For FY 2018, we still have some challenges this year. We did our review came out very well, but we do have some challenges. Most of our staff is very new. In fact, our senior staff is Jeffrey's been on the job for 2 years. Executive director. I was appointed executive director of the MPO 2 days before this review occurred. So I walked into that without a whole lot. Even the MPO itself, the last election kind of changed the membership there quite a bit. So we have a new county board chairman on the policy committee, 2 new mayors, and a couple of new engineers as well. So we got some challenges there, but it's kind of a learning process for all of us. Yeah, there's new membership. And we got some new regulations like the FAST Act that we need to incorporate into our program. So, conclusion, the review was positive. Our program is doing well, and we intend to continue that. I'll take any questions.
Seeing none, we'll go on to the Transportation Intergovernmental Grant Agreement for fiscal year 2018. Jeffrey?
Last week, the Transportation Grant Agreement from IDOT was received. As previously requested, it was sent out to members so it could be reviewed before sending it to County Board. Did anyone have any questions on it? The committee already approved it to be sent to County Board in May, so there's no action that's needed. Just for informational if anyone had any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, any old business? Any new business? Adjournment would be in order. Mr. Mulcahy. Mr. Payton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for your attendance.